If you walked away from a car accident in Georgia with neck or back pain, don't assume it's minor. And definitely don't take the first check the insurance company offers you. Insurance companies love these injuries because they're easy to downplay, and they know that most people don't push for real treatment or real compensation. But the truth is, what feels like soreness today could be a disc injury that costs you years of pain and thousands in lost value if you don't handle it right. I'm Peter Geraci, a Georgia personal injury lawyer that has handled thousands of claims, and in this video, I'll show you exactly how to protect your case, prove your injury, and build the documentation that can turn a soft tissue claim into a 5 or even 6-figure settlement. Insurance companies love when you say, "It's just my neck," or "Oh, it's just sore," because the moment you say that, they'll assume it's minor and try to settle for pennies. Here's why. Neck and back injuries often don't show up on x-rays. They're hard to quantify unless you push for the right medical care, and if you delay treatment by any means, they'll argue it wasn't caused by the accident. But here's the truth. What starts as stiffness can turn into disc herniations, nerve impingement, or chronic pain that lasts for years. Step 1 to getting paid, see a doctor immediately. Even if it's just soreness, go. You need that initial record of symptoms tied to the accident. I'd suggest you start with the emergency room or urgent care. That's usually the best place to go. Then after that, you should follow up with a chiropractor, orthopedist, or neurologist, someone who specializes in spinal injuries. Now, this is important. Do not skip appointments. Every gap in treatment gives the insurance company a reason to devalue your claim. And don't settle for rest and ibuprofen if the pain isn't going away. You need specialists, imaging, and documentation. Now, I know there are some people that are going to hear this and be like, "Well, if I'm not hurt, why do I need to go? Isn't that fraudulent?" or whatever it might be. It's not. The reason is you need to have a paper trail. The problem is this pain starts off as really minor and develops into something more serious later on. The insurance company takes advantage of that and they say, "Well, hey, you didn't go seek treatment for the first 3 weeks after the accident. You must not be hurt and this must be due to something else." And so while it may not feel so intrusive or so bad at the beginning, creating that paper trail, showing that you are consistent with your appointments, showing the insurance company this is a real injury, gives you all the power later on to fight them back and get the true value of your claim. Now, like we said earlier, soft tissue injuries usually won't show up on an x-ray. So if all you've had is an x-ray and the insurance company is only offering you $1,000, that's why. You need an MRI. An MRI can show bulging or herniated discs, nerve compression, and spinal inflammation, and that is the key there. That inflammation is crucial in showing that this was caused by a recent incident. What happens when you get hit, right? When somebody hits you, you bruise up, you swell up, and it indicates you were hurt recently. That's the idea behind an MRI. You're able to tell and show whether there was a recent injury that caused the damage that's appearing on the MRI. Now, these findings add serious value to your case because they show objective evidence of an injury. It's not just you complaining about it. There's an actual picture that shows, hey, this person was hurt. Now, I mentioned inflammation and that being a key to linking the injury to the accident, but really what makes this rock solid is the doctor himself, the reading radiologist, linking the injury to the accident in their report. That connection is what proves causation and gets you paid. Now, the more detail you give, the more value your case builds. Insurance companies don't just pay for pain and suffering. They pay for how that pain affects your life, so you've got to be specific. Some of the most common examples we see is that, the accident is affecting my ability to sleep. I can't lift my kids because I'm in too much pain. I can't drive for more than 20 minutes. Or I had to miss work or modify my duties in some way. What I would recommend is starting a pain journal. Write down what daily tasks you struggle with. Over time, you tend to forget these things, so having a document somewhere to write this stuff down is really, really helpful. And to put the icing on the cake, what I'd recommend is make sure your provider is documenting the functional limitations in every appointment. Share that pain journal with them so they know everything that you're feeling when you go to that appointment, because most often what happens is when you see the doctor, you just resort to what's hurting you the most in that moment. Having that pain journal really helps. And what this does is it shows that your injury isn't just real, it's actually affecting you in your day-to-day life. Now, finally, in cases like this, the most common thing we see is the insurance company offering you like a fast $500 or $1,000 check right after the crash. Do not take it. That is a release of all your claims. Usually, that's what's tied to it, a release of all your claims. And the second you cash it and sign that document, your claim is over. Your case is done. And if your pain gets any worse or you need injections or surgery, too bad. You gave up your rights. Wait until you finish treatment, or at least have a full diagnosis and a long-term care plan. That's the only way to know what your case is truly worth. Now, do you want to turn a basic soft tissue case into a $25,000 or $100,000 plus case? Document the hell out of it. Medical records and diagnostics, pain journals, proof of missed work, W-2s, tax returns, doctor's notes, all of it. Receipts for prescriptions, therapy, travel to appointments, letters from providers explaining the long-term impact on your life. The more you document, the harder it is for the insurer to argue you're just sore. And it makes it a lot easier for you to build a bad faith case against the insurer if they deny your case. Insurance companies lowball neck and back injuries constantly. That's their game. They're banking on you not knowing how serious it is or how to prove it. Now, here's when to get a lawyer involved. You're being offered less than your medical bills, they're blaming pre-existing conditions, or you just want someone to deal with the insurance while you focus on healing. And frankly, if you want to maximize the value of your case, hiring a lawyer is the way to go. A lawyer can get your providers paid, handle negotiations, and maximize that final check without you paying a cent upfront. We just dove into how to get the most out of your neck and back injuries after a car accident. And I bet your car was damaged in the accident, and if you don't know how to properly settle that property damage claim, you'll be leaving thousands of dollars on the table. Check out this next video where I give you 5 tips for settling your property damage claims after a car accident in Georgia. We'll see you over there.